Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to replace your shift solenoid and valve body in your E4OD transmission, later called the 4R100 transmission. Now this transmission was available on the Ford F-150, Bronco, and diesel trucks. This truck here is a 1990 Ford Bronco with the E4OD transmission. Now a bad shift solenoid will give you erratic shifting. It may not upshift and it may not downshift, or the shift points themselves will be completely out of order. And a bad valve body will give you really smooth shifting. Instead of a nice firm shift, it'll just be really smooth, which is really not ideal. This is also the item that is modified with the shift kits, but I chose to replace it altogether. So let's get started. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is disconnect your battery, since we will be dealing with some electrical. Next, remove your solenoid harness shield so you can unplug the solenoid. Now carefully unplug your pigtail. Next, slide a drain pan underneath the transmission so we can empty out the fluid. So basically I remove all of the rear bolts first. Then start working the side bolts here. And you should see fluid coming down very soon. Make sure you position your catch pan to retrieve all of the fluid. Now I just left the rearmost bolts and these two corner bolts right here. I'm going to leave these in while I remove some of these rearmost bolts. So I'm going to remove these bolts very slowly and let most of the fluid drop down. With every turn, you'll see more and more fluid come down. Now the party's starting. Now I'm going to be reusing this fluid since I just did a flush about a couple thousand miles ago. So I'm catching it all in this container and I will be filtering it and putting it back into this transmission. Remove the remaining bolts and hold the pan steady while you tilt it forward in the direction of your catch and empty everything out. Now with the transmission pan out, this is a great opportunity to clean it up, get rid of whatever gunk is in here, wipe down these edges, and very importantly, clean up this magnet here. You can see there's a lot of shavings on it, which is normal. It's designed to catch any of the fine material that's inside of your transmission. So just make sure you clean it real good. Once you have the pan and the magnet nice and clean, just snap it back into place. Next, carefully remove your transmission filter. Now let's remove the solenoid pack. Now carefully remove the solenoid pack. It has a little O-ring seal on it, so it's going to take a little bit of wiggling to get it down. Next, remove the valve body. Alright guys, so we got all the parts out here. Now I do want to mention here on this shift solenoid, you can tell inside this plug here that a lot of fluid worked its way up into the plug. It's a common failure point for this cylinder to leak internally, which will cause some issues in it itself. Now I do want to mention that the 4R100 transmission does have a slightly different plug, and so do the later model E4ODs. This is the thicker wall plug, which is for years 1989 to 1994, I believe. 95 and up had a thinner wall single clip plug. So just make sure you get the right part. And also I wanted to mention that this part can be tested. You can hook up an ohm meter and test out the resistance to each one of these solenoids here and check to see if they're within range. And also you can connect a 12-volt power source to them, and you can actually verify operation of these solenoids. You'll hear the clicking and the little ball in here will open and close. Now even if it does operate normally, since this is a wear item, it might not fully seat into its position correctly and it will cause an internal leak. So I do recommend just replacing it all together. Now on the valve body here, you can tell I have a lot of shavings. You can see that in there, nice and black gray shavings. Now this is a very highly worn out item, and you can actually maintenance this product by getting a shift kit, and it'll come with new springs and actuators. But to do the shift kit properly, it really requires you to do the main valve body as well, along with the torque converter pump. So I just actually decided to go with brand new parts. So let's install them. Alright, now install the accumulator valve body. Now carefully install your new solenoid pack. Now install your transmission filter. And again, make sure to install a new transmission filter. Take this opportunity and do it. It's a simple enough process, and it'll help the life of your transmission. And also be sure to get the correct transmission filter for your transmission, as the 4-wheel drive models have a longer output down here because the pan itself is a little bit bigger and it's deeper, so you have to get the 4-wheel drive version of the filter for your 4-wheel drive truck. And now install your pan. Now you're going to want to install all your bolts loosely and make sure that the gasket is on there nicely, and then tighten them down. Now if you're looking to take this opportunity and do a complete flush of transmission fluid on your transmission, be sure to actually flush out the torque converter as well. There's an access hole here in the front of the transmission in the bell housing. Turn the engine until you find the drain plug. It'll be facing down. Once that drain plug is centered right here into this hole, remove that drain plug and a bunch of fluid will come out of that torque converter so you can do a complete flush on your transmission. Now again, I've already done a service to this transmission, so I will not be doing this right now. I'm just focusing on the solenoid and the valve body. Plug in your solenoid, install the protective shield, and tighten it down. Next, pull the dipstick and fill it with fluid. Now I use Mobil 1 synthetic ATF. This works really well for these transmissions, and I haven't had any issues with using it, but you should use whatever is recommended for your truck. Now this can take a while, since you have to pretty much fill 15 quarts or 10 quarts depending on the job that you did, all through the dipstick. Now you don't want to overfill your transmission, so I recommend just putting in about 5 quarts. Then you have to connect your battery. So now that the battery's connected, I'm going to go turn it on, and we have to cycle it through the gears, every gear about 10 seconds. We'll put it back in park, and then we're going to measure the fluid. Alright guys, so now we're in the truck. Let's fire it up. Alright, now we're going to cycle it through the gears, starting with reverse. All the way back up to park. Now we're going to keep the engine running, and we're going to go check the fluid level. Alright, so you can see here I'm not registering any fluid as of yet. So right now I'm probably going to add 2 more quarts. Once I get a little bit of fluid showing on the dipstick, I'm going to keep adding 1 quart until I'm right here at that cross hatching. And remember, the truck has to be on and in park for the accurate fluid level to register. So let's add some more fluid and try it again. Alright guys, now it's right where it needs to be, kind of in the middle of that cross hatching right there. I've turned off the truck and now I'm going to replace the dipstick. Alright guys, so we finished up the job. We replaced the shift solenoid and the valve body, which I really do recommend this maintenance to be done on your rig. These trucks are 30 years old, and this will help the longevity of your truck. So if this video helped you guys, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.